In my engagement around this big conversation and over the last 8 years, um, the voice of the rural communities raising their concerns has been pretty consistent. And there's no such thing as rural crime, is there? It just is crime that is happening out there in our rural communities, and some of it being environmental crime. Um, Debbie from Pembridge said rural crime needs a better presence by West Mercia Police, i.e., thefts from garden outbuildings, theft of farm vehicles, off-road trespassing. Paul from Kidderminster, top of my list would be crimes against the environment, illegal discharges into rivers and waterways, industrial pollution, fly tipping, and other crimes which degrade the environment and agricultural land. Some interesting mix of issues there. Some that I know are matters for the police, and some that are matters for other agencies. Over this next 4 years, how do you think we can build some of the confidence in our rural communities that they are getting the right level of service?
So I like your point where you said it's sort of not rural crime, it's just crime. And we need, as if there is a different class of crime. When I think about if I was a farmer and I have my machinery stolen, often quad bikes, sometimes high-powered tractors, this is serious, organised, acquisitive crime that we must be passionate about disrupting. And we have Operation Cordon recently has dealt with organised crime groups who were focusing on this area and targeting rural communities to steal things like quad bikes, and we've managed to eliminate the threat from organised crime groups associated with that. It's really important, and it's difficult as well because we are such a large force. Herefordshire and Shropshire are big areas, and some parts of Worcestershire. So CCTV is not ubiquitous, and we have to rely on other areas of investigation. So I think that's really important for us. And I also share Paul's passion for environmental crime, accepting that we should work in partnership with the environmental community. And in fact, as you know, one of our ACCs, Rachel Jones, has been dealing with, in a goal group, with a very big incident of this environmental damage. And right through to cruelty to animals, whether that's hare coursing, and we've dealt with a very high profile case in Worcestershire in relation to the torture of monkeys, believe it or not, recently. So these are all areas that are really important to us. And I think we've got rural crime officers, and we will be focusing on it in the next 4 years.
So relationship is sometimes the centre of building trust. We talked earlier around visibility and accessibility, but just more explicitly around rural communities, because some of them are quite far apart.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are quite sparse in terms of density of population. Over this next 4 years, is there an aspiration, or how can we improve some of that? Being physically present more, but also being more accessible over these next 4 years.
Well, there's changes we've made even in the last few months. So in probably our area that is sparsest with the biggest geography is Shropshire. And Shropshire have historically, therefore, had the slowest response times because they've got the greater geography to carry on. So we have pushed more officers into Shropshire to be able to respond quicker to areas which are slightly more isolated. But our focus over the next 4 years on getting extra capacity into community areas is really important. Our volunteer community is really important, and we've got farm watches and street watches that are hugely impactful, I think. And as well as dealing with the organised crime groups that the questioner refers to here, I think they're all areas that we should concentrate on. We also have our rural crime officers who spend a long time, as you say, target hardening, but getting out with smart water. And I've been out with them speaking to farmers and watching them do their work, and it's hugely welcome. And it just offers that extra reassurance that we are out there. I don't know if Richard's anything you want to add in this?
It's undeniably difficult, and I can't dress it up any other way for the same reasons that we talked about, focusing on town centre teams as high concentration areas for antisocial behaviour and crime and our ability to have a really big impact. crime affecting rural communities isn't high in concentration. So vast areas with crime committed across those areas makes it very difficult for us to prevent it by way of patrol activity, for example. But what we can do is try and develop an understanding of who the offenders are most likely to be and target the offenders perhaps in a more productive way than targeting the locations, which for the reasons I've given is really difficult. I think the greatest step we can take is ensuring that when someone is targeted, and it may be theft of plant, for example, or theft of and a crime affecting livestock, that is given the seriousness that it deserves. So ensuring that there's a really effective investigative response where we demonstrate that we do take it seriously, that we take relevant details, that we ensure we've got all the details of the stolen property, that we support people in terms of identifying where that property might be. So this is something that is hard in terms of preventative work based on patrol, but we can be smart about targeting offenders, ensuring that property is followed up. But it would be entirely dishonest of me to say that this is something that we can patrol our way out of. But that is entirely different from saying that this is something that is really significant in its impact and people deserve to have a significant response when it occurs.